At Narduzzi, Michigan State.
There you go, Scarp!
Saying Michigan State was strong defensively this season would be a huge understatement. Pat Narduzzi's Spartan D was dominant. They led the country in total defense, allowing just 250 yards a game. Talk about consistency. His Spartan D was ranked first in the country in total defense all 12 weeks of the season, and opponents rushed for only 80 yards a game. Big downs, no team was better on third down than Narduzzi's Spartan D. Offenses converted only 27% of their third down opportunities against the Michigan State defense. His Spartans also forced 27 turnovers.
Ball's loose! It's going to be a touchdown to Nico Allen!
And you better score early against these Spartans. Narduzzi's Spartan D held 6 opponents scoreless in the second half this season. Please welcome the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator for the team that held its in-state rival to a school record minus 48 yards rushing this season. Broyles Award finalist Pat Narduzzi of Michigan State.
I like that fight song. That was the right one. Well, just like everybody else, I'm not as funny as everybody else up here. But I guess I'm the oldest one. Appreciate that, David. But thank you, everybody up here, for everything you guys do. Coach Broyles, again, enjoyed that breakfast immensely this morning. I'm an old school guy, like you said, and I've always enjoyed, talking to old coaches, whether it be John Pont and Ara Parsegian, and it's just a pleasure. Thank his whole family for being here today, and again, it's a great honor. It's a win just to be here with these great coaches over here, period. And just to be honored and be one of the 5 here, bringing home that trophy really is not a big deal. It's being here with these fine young coaches, and it is just I can't say in words how much it means to me and probably to my family as well. I want to start off by thanking my beautiful wife, Donna, out here in the stands. I've got 4 children at home that wanted to be here, real bad. They may be sneaking in the door. They may have caught a flight to get here, but those are my 5 assistant coaches that I have at home that I've got to live with every day. And there couldn't be a better 5 in the world. They are behind their dad, win or lose. And you coach this game. I'll tell you a funny story. Probably, someone asked me this yesterday. What was probably the worst day of your life as a football coach? For a family, and you wonder why you coach. And some of you guys, whether you've been through this or not. Our first year at Michigan State, 2007, I believe, we played Michigan at home, and Chad Henne hits Mario Manningham in the corner of an end zone for a touchdown in the last 30 seconds of the game to win the game. And it was bad enough losing that football game. And then we won, 4 straight after that game, and there was some motivation. But my poor children had to go to school that next day and get harassed in the state of Michigan. It's not like the state of Arkansas where you're the only show in the state. We got another, good school down the road. But for my kids to come home crying that day to my poor wife, my wife calling, I'm calling the principal. I can't believe this. That's what we have to go through, and that's what she's got to deal with every game. So it's my motivation when I walk in that office on Sunday is to put, the best game plan together so that my kids don't have to be miserable in school. So I thank them. I've got to thank, Mr. Hollis, Mark Hollis, our athletic director, who has been very supportive of our football program, giving us all the tools we need to win. Obviously, Coach D'Antonio is, up for Coach of the Year honors and deserves it. He's done an unbelievable job at Michigan State. People don't realize he's been there 7 seasons. We've been to 7 straight bowl games. What they don't realize is before we got there, they hadn't been to a bowl game in 4 years. So we took it at rock bottom, and now, like Mark Hollis wanted, we got our feet on the roses in Pasadena this year, and we're excited about playing in that bowl game on New Year's Day. So I thank all those guys. Just like I did last night, got to thank our football players. As Coach Pruitt said, they make the plays. All we do as coaches is to put them in position to make those plays, and they've done a tremendous job. And we've got a lot of great players out there, that are getting awards similar to what we've been here tonight. I feel like it's Father's Day. Okay, I don't know if anybody feels like it's Father's Day, but listen to everybody talk about their fathers, and it's been impressive. And I came up here and I really didn't know what to say. Really did not prepare a speech, and went up to my room last night at 11 o'clock. I go, honey, what am I gonna say tomorrow? That I haven't already said, or they, really do they really want to hear it? And I don't want to bore you, but You know, you talk about a great defense, and we're number one in the country in defense, and all those stats are great, but, you know, it's not about that. And the thing I've learned with Mark D'Antonio for the last 10 years is not only the impact and the development of what we do with our players on the field, but it's the development of people. And to me, the most impressive thing we've done at Michigan State is not win games or be the best defense in the country. It's as we develop individuals. We got an unbelievable group of kids, but D'Antonio's been the leader of that group, and we have impacted people, okay, on the field and off the field, and that has been the most impressive thing we do as a football staff. And the thing people ask, you know, why are you guys so successful? The reason we're successful and the reason you guys are probably successful in what you do is our kids love playing for us. Our kids love to play for us, and we love coaching them. And Lee Tressel quote that Coach D'Antonio always uses is, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And to me, that's the key to victory right there every week is they don't care how much you know. They don't care how much defense I know until they know that we care about our kids. And that's been the key to what we do at Michigan State. And so I came up to my room last night, I don't know, I pick up my phone, I got, you know, I don't know, 3 dozen texts, and I get one from a guy named Ron Pence, and I'm going, holy mackerel. He was watching the Jimmy V cancer thing, I guess, on ESPN. I don't get to watch TV much. We don't have much time, but he's watching that, talking about, you know, cancer and all that, and he was a former player of my dad's at Youngstown State. And again, as a little kid, you know, I got in the coaching profession because my dad was a coach. And he started off at the University of Pittsburgh, was at Yale University. He went to Brown University. He was at Miami of Florida. Went to the University of Kentucky as a defensive coordinator and assistant head coach, just like I am. You know, and I got a pair of his old shoes sitting in my closet at home. My wife looks at me like, why do you still have your dad's shoes? He passed away in 1988, but that's still a piece of him that's sitting in my closet. And I feel like I've fallen in his shoes. He was National Coach of the Year back in 1979. So he is my hero. Okay, and everybody's got their heroes. That's a guy that is my hero. My mother is my hero. She's in New Jersey, and she's a great lady. She, you know, mother of 6. She held our whole family together and held us strong. You know, my dad passed away at age 22, but again, he was the guy I looked up to. He was my hero. So I got that text last night, and I said, holy mackerel, you know, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. And I went back, and I said, holy mackerel. I said, you know, to get that from him, he sent me a letter, and I had the original in my briefcase, and that was not planned, and things happen for a reason, but it was a 3-page, you can see it was a 3-page letter from him, signed by Ron Pence, and he was a player for me. He starts off by saying, my name is Ron Pence. You'll probably not remember me, but I played for your father at Youngstown State. Afterwards, I called him, and I said, yeah, I know exactly what number, I called out his jersey number to him, and he was like in shock, okay? I wanted to write this letter for a long time. In fact, it was when I first saw you on TV in the press box at Michigan State several years ago. I was moved to tears to see that you followed in his footsteps. Not only was I proud of you, but that you followed in your father's legacy, but it became clear that the day your father's legacy has followed me for 34 years as a man and a business leader. Even more proudly, he played a very large part in my survival, okay, in his survival. You know, he talked about he impacted him in 3 ways, you know. He said, my father lives in him every day. And that's how we as coaches impact. It is not about the X and O's. It's about our kids. And to get, you know, emails and texts from, you know, kids that we've coached, that's kind of how we keep going. You know, if our kids would graduate and leave and never talk to you again, you know, we'd be failures as coaches. But he said he impacted me. He gave people chances. He gave people chances. He was a guy that wasn't a kicker. My dad turned him into a kicker. He wrote in a letter, and again, 3 pages, about how my dad went to his backyard and built a goalpost there. And you know, it's probably an NCAA violation, okay, but built a goalpost in his backyard. You know, he instilled leadership. Now, this individual is now, you know, executive with Chick-fil-A, but, you know, he instilled leadership, you know. You know, he was a role model and whatever. He said, Doozer was my first real role model. So it was his hero. So just like my dad was my hero, these guys sometimes, and our young kids nowadays don't have those. So you end up being a co-captain, 3-year starter as a defensive end there. But, and then he said he was the ultimate motivator, which is what I feel like I am. And again, you know, he died too young for me to really get a piece of him, but was the best coach I had as a freshman. But, you know, he said when I sat through, you know, through my life, you know, I guess my dad died of Hodgkin's disease and battled it for 8 years. And to make a long story short, he battled for 8 years. Ron Pence ended up calling him up one day and said, you know, Coach, I've got Hodgkin's disease too. So he had the same cancer that my dad did. And he basically said my dad saved his life because he gave him the tips, you know, pretty much said, you know, treat it like the enemy, that is, kick its ass, is what he basically said, And again, you talk about heroes and talk about when you get a letter like that, how much it impacts you as a coach and as a dad. And, I just hope someday my son and all our former players, have that same impact. And I hope everybody in here has that same impact on people that you associate yourself with every year. So thank you very much. It's great to be a part of this Broyles Award, and can't tell you how much it means to me. Thank you very much.